For more than a decade, Saudi Arabia's specialized criminal court has been used for muzzling critical voices on the peninsula. The prey has been a raft of journalists, human rights defenders, religious clerics, as well as political and women's rights activists. The trials have been unfair at best, and the sentences usually long-term imprisonment and death. Since the emergence of Mohammed bin Salman as the Saudi crown prince, the court has come in full swing, striking terror into the heart of civil society. The Specialized Criminal Court, SCC, came into being in 2008 as a tribunal for terror-related crimes. But as the widespread uprisings in 2011 began to rock the Arab world, the court became the main tool for silencing dissident individuals. To begin with, the court tried a group of 16 Jeddah reformists, and then anyone calling for their fundamental rights. The court treated all the peaceful political activists as terrorists, using vague definitions of terrorism, terrorist crime, and terrorist entity.
The Saudi Specialized Criminal Court is a court that was established outside the even Saudi law, and even within Saudi law, this court is not constitutional or according to the Saudi law. This court was established to specifically to target the opponents of the Saudi government and to put a label of a terrorist against anyone who is an opponent of the Saudi monarchy.
The most common charges the activists would face in the Specialized Criminal Court were breaking allegiance to and disobeying the ruler of Saudi Arabia, questioning the integrity of officials, seeking to disrupt security and inciting disorder by calling for demonstrations, disseminating false information to foreign groups, and forming or participating in forming an unlicensed organization. Today, almost all Saudi human rights activists and independent voices are behind bars, serving heavy sentences passed by the court, if not already executed. Amnesty International has documented the cases of 95 individuals who were tried before the SCC between 2011 and 2019 on trumped-up charges. Among the first victims was Mohammed al-Bajaji, a founding member of the Saudi Civil and Political Rights Association, ACPRA. Previously prosecuted for human rights work in 2011, al-Bajaji was re-arrested in May 2018. He is now behind bars without charge or trial. Following al-Bajaji's first trial in 2011, the SCC tried all other founding members of the ACPRA for their human rights work, giving them severe sentences. In just another case, Salman al-Auda, a reformist religious cleric arrested in September 2017, faces the death penalty in his trial before the SCC. Among his 37 charges are his participation in a petition calling for, amongst other things, an elected Shura Council, separation of the executive and legislative branches of government, reform of the judicial system, the establishment of civil society organizations, and freedom of expression.
The Saudi monarchy knows well that 90% or more of the population do not see it as a legitimate government. That's why the Saudi government, the Saudi monarchy, does not allow elections or freedom of speech. It does not allow people to make their opinion about the government known, because most of the people are against the Saudi monarchy and they don't want to have a monarchy in their country.
Meanwhile, women human rights defenders, including Lujain al-Haflul, Iman al-Lafjan, Aziza al-Yusuf, Samar Badawi, and Nassim al-Sada were expected to appear before the SEC, but due to public pressure from across the world, they were instead brought before the criminal court in Riyadh. The Saudi authorities have also used the specialized criminal court yet for another obnoxious purpose: to crack down on the kingdom's Shia Muslim minority who have long called for their basic rights.
This is a sectarian court. All the judges and all the prosecutors and all the staff that work in this specialized criminal court are from one branch of Saudi Arabia. It's they are all Wahhabis. No other citizens of that country is allowed to work in these courts, and they are picked based on their loyalty, not qualification. So, in addition, we know for sure that the majority of the judges in these courts are sectarian. They hate Shia Muslims, and they hate the majority of the population, but specifically Shia Muslims, and they see them as enemies that must be either killed or imprisoned or tortured.
Since 2011, over 100 Saudi Arabian Shia Muslims have been brought before the SEC. Most renowned among them, Nimr al-Nimr, Imam of the mosque in Al-Awamiyah, a village in Al-Ghatif Governorate. In 2014, the SEC sentenced him to death. Among other Shia cleric is Tawfiq al-Amr. The SEC convicted Tawfiq al-Amr in 2011 and sentenced him to 3 years imprisonment, followed by a 5-year travel ban. In 2014, the SEC appeal court handed down the harsher sentence of 8 years in prison, to be followed by a 10-year ban on overseas travel and on delivering religious sermons and public speeches. The SEC has also passed death sentences on Shia Muslims below the age of 18 at the time of arrest. Ali al-Nimr, Abdullah al-Zahir, and Dawood al-Marhoun, aged 17, 16, and 17, respectively, when arrested in 2012, are now on death row. The SEC is notorious for relying on torture-tainted confessions. At least 20 Shia men tried by the SEC have been sentenced to death on the basis of such confessions, 17 of whom were executed.
Anyone who comes in front of this court, there is a zero case where people were found not guilty. So everyone who goes to this court will be guilty, and the decision to sentence somebody to death or 2 years in prison is decided not by the judges themselves, but by the government. So this gives you an example of how Saudi Arabia's court system is not independent.
In a horrific case, Hussein al-Rabi was executed in April 2019, even though he told the SEC that his interrogator had slapped and hit him and threatened to hang him by his arms and give him electric shocks unless he confessed. In the words of Taha al-Haji, a lawyer who has represented some defendants before the specialized criminal court, the presumption of innocence is not part of the Saudi Arabian judicial system.
Anyone who goes before a Saudi court, especially the specialized criminal court, is like going into an ISIS court. It's like a terrorist court, but hiding behind fighting terrorism. There is no difference between Saudi courts and ISIS courts when it comes to people who are against the Saudi monarchy.
The reported cases are just the tip of the iceberg, as the Saudi judicial system is too shadowy to expose itself to outsiders. The known cases, however, stand in stark contrast to the kingdom's rhetoric about reforms and other sweet promises.